Hi folks, back with another video. Let's dive into what stories got my attention today. Now, Beijing is stepping up the militarization of its southeast coast by installing DF-17 hypersonic missile in its southeast region. Now, these DF-17s are going to replace the old DF-11s and DF-15s. Now, DF-17 has a maximum range of 2,500 kilometers or 1,550 miles. Furthermore, satellite images have shown that both the Marine Corps and the Rocket Force bases in Fujian and Guangdong provinces have expanded in recent years, according to Andre Chang, editor-in-chief of the Canada-based Canva Defense Review. Chang said that one base in Puning, a city in Guangdong, had been upgraded and now housed a new type of ballistic missile, but declined to say what type because of the sensitivity of the topic. I suspect it is the DF-17 hypersonic missile. While experts say that Beijing is preparing to invade Taiwan, I would urge the West and our allies to focus on exposing the Chinese Communist Party's corruption and get them to apologize to the Chinese people. We shouldn't be involved in any kind of military exercise against China. We should strictly do diplomatic and economic, and more importantly, information. We should leak all the information that shows their corruption to the Chinese people. Moving over to the Caucasus region, Armenia has accused Azerbaijan of rocket and artillery fire, while Azerbaijan has accused Armenia of bombarding the city of Jabrail and several villages which were under Azerbaijan's control. Now, this happened after the Russian and French foreign ministries tried and brokered a new deal between the two countries. The Armenian Defense Ministry has said that more than 600 soldiers have been killed, while Azerbaijan has not provided any information on losses as usual in its armed forces, but it says that more than 50 civilians were killed in an Armenian attack. Now, to me, it seems that the two sides are adamant to fight and they do not want to solve this diplomatically. I would urge the international community to take more stern action against the two countries in order to prevent a massive humanitarian crisis. Moving on to Thailand, protesters returned to the streets of Bangkok for the fifth straight day in a coordinated demonstration on Sunday to continue their call for an end to Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha's government. Now, protest organizers had called on Sunday morning for demonstrators to be ready at any BTS SkyTrain station near their house by 3 p.m. local time, but they did not disclose further details about the gathering sites in order to avoid blockades by the authorities, which I think is a smart move because by that way, wherever there are more, they could pay more attention to them. Now, driven by a coalition of youth groups from across Thailand, it seems the movement has recently become somewhat leaderless as most of the protest leaders have been apprehended by the police. Besides Bangkok, more rallies have also been held in different provinces across the country. Now, police have so far dispersed the protesters twice, first on Thursday and later on Friday at the Pathumwan intersection in Bangkok business district. Well, imprisoning the leaders of the movement, I think, is not good tactic, especially if the protests continue, because they can be easily hijacked by anyone, and that would be far more difficult to contain than with the current leadership as it is. I hope it doesn't backfire on the Thai government, the kind of actions they have taken. Moving on to Israel, where there have been a renewed protest in Jerusalem after a 2-week hiatus due to the pandemic restrictions, with approximately 10,000 Israelis now calling for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to resign, while thousands more protested across the country. Violent attacks on protesters were reported around the country. Protesters in Haifa, Jerusalem, and Ramat Gan were sprayed with pepper spray. Police have arrested 7 suspects in the attack, while Jerusalem's Balfour Street, where Netanyahu's official residence lies, has been the focal point of ongoing anti-corruption protests. Now, earlier in Tel Aviv, the Movement for Quality Government held a demonstration in which former Minister Tzipi Livni told the hundreds who gathered there that, quote, Netanyahu chose to be the man who destroyed democracy and broke apart Israeli society. Now, I personally don't think Netanyahu has actually broken any democracy in Israel. I believe the Israeli democracy is strong and sound and it's functioning well. It's evidenced by the fact that there are actual protests, and the protests have not been, let's just say, too harshly hindered as other countries have. However, these kind of protests, sometimes they have a good point, sometimes they don't. As long as these protests continue and the government does not prevent these protesters in any way, like in Thailand, these protests could go in one of two ways, in my opinion. One of which would be either there will be some change or the protesters will fizzle out. We'll just wait and watch and see what happens. Moving on over to Kyrgyzstan. As Kyrgyzstan moves towards some semblance of peace and a return to a form of functioning government, I might say, it seems Kyrgyzstan's neighbors are content with the events that have transpired. Now, of course, while many people will allege a color revolution, which for me I don't think is out of question, but it needs to be, if there is a color revolution, they need to come up with more evidence than just some kind of assumptions. Anyhow, I think as we go forward, all eyes are going to be on Kyrgyz Prime Minister Sadir Japarov. Hopefully he can take the country out of the chaos that it has experienced. Let's wait and pray for the country to come out of this stronger, more resilient, hopefully better for the people. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, then hit that like button and hit that subscribe button for future updates. Write in the comments your thoughts, criticisms, and anything I might have missed. And I will see you in the next video.